Let's,
Hey everybody, today we're here with Chastity, Kat, and I for a one of our conversations for a changing reality podcast. Sammy will still come in and the artist here and there, but we're going to be talking about what we're feeling going on in the energy with solar flares and kind of a little bit the maybe some of the themes for next year. So we'll see where the conversation just flows to. Okay, so here we are. Who wants to start? I mean, doesn't matter to me.
well,
Where should we
I'll,
go?
Kat had mentioned the flare when we were just chatting this morning, and I was up at 1 in the morning and couldn't really get back to sleep for a good couple of hours. The pressure is on, and worlds are opening up. And I think with the worlds opening up and all of this, let's call it chaos, but there is a calm within the chaos. There are many doors opening. Like I said, worlds coming into our reality, bleed throughs, simultaneous, like parallels are on top instead of like running side by side. They're
Yeah.
merged. And
Hmm.
so we're really experiencing some interesting things. And there's an uptick in spirituality. And I think that a good place to start would be some of the trends we're seeing with spirituality and
Yeah.
how that's being fed or threaded or woven into this tapestry of our consciousness.
Hmm. Awakening. Yeah. Yeah. So, um, if you're watching this, well, probably you may have seen the latest Ask the Artist um, question um, that I already answered, and by the time people watch this, you may have seen the response to that because the question came in about all the DMT and ayahuasca trips that people are taking to open their awareness. There is just a powerful feeling of transformation underway, and the solar flares are directly related to activations of our soul. Really here to assist us to embody our soul, embody the spirit. What I've been seeing too is that emptying out the vessel, the body as a vessel, and some of you may have remember I talked about it a little bit that I saw Sammy a couple of months ago where she was just an outer shell of a body and it was just hollow, like God was just breezing through. So it's that concept of really becoming the empty vessel, so that we can allow God, God's source, God's the spirit uh, of the eternal to come through and be a vessel. And with that, then people are, with that impulse and feeling, people are jumping on the bandwagon, it seems, to want to spiritually awaken, and they have to kind of awaken the brain, the mind, in order to do that. So the question that came in was about using plant medicines, mind altering kinds of chemicals to assist with that. Um, and so Sammy came in right away when I was answering that question, and it was a no.
Mm.
And honestly, as the human, my mind was going, well, maybe, it can help loosen the doors in there somehow so that people can start to have different experience with that, or see. And it was such an emphatic feeling through my whole body. So it wasn't like my mind interpreting it. Because as often, these messages are also very sensory, and kinesthetic for me. And it was just an emphatic no, that those drugs uh, are leading you into places and spaces, um, that in our reality, our 3D reality, we haven't been able to see, but it's not still not the true reality that is opening up, so to speak. Um, and that even DMT, they say that our bodies used to once produced that chemical dimethyl, I can't remember the full name of it, but uh, that it was actually being produced in a body that was being genetically altered. And this is like many, many thousands of years ago, obviously, when the genetic alterations to the human form, the human template had started. So even if you think it's like ancient, tens of thousands of years ago, well, that's when um, it was being already altered at that stage. So uh, she's, and also said that the earth is going through a lot of clearings, just like our bodies are trying to be cleared. The earth body is doing it first, and that's why we're stimulated for that to take place. Um, and that means then there's a lot of hidden spirit still that's been unaware to us in our awareness that are being pulled out. These are false light beings that are hovering to attach to people to hang on to their reality. Uh, and like I said, I was shocked by it, but it was a very emphatic no. And so I know Chastity and Kat, from their own experiences and knowledge, have more to say in that. So if you want to take it from there with that, I'll let you.
Yeah, my familiarity with plant medicines being used for journeying has always been that it's used in a ceremonial fashion in a group under the guidance of a practitioner that has been trained to hold the space, to protect the space, because protecting the space is extremely important. It was never intended to be a trend. It was part of an initiation rite, and you didn't start off using these things like ayahuasca or diviner's sage or some of the toxic plants and stuff until you reached at least a certain level in your practice or your studies that you were able to go into the other worlds with the discernment, because as I had explained to Susan and Chastity, one of the first things that I learned during my initial studies was the other worlds just love newbies venturing into their space, like in the astral,
Mhm.
because people will go in there and they will speak with anything, they will interact with anything, either knowingly or unknowingly, and they will bring things home and they'll bring things out with them. And there's actual evidence now that the rates of possession have increased. And I don't know if that's being attributed to some of these trendy, Costa Rica, go to Costa Rica and do ayahuasca, or go to wherever and do this and that, or Peru, and I'm not sure, but it's definitely opening doors. It's creating auric tears, and people aren't like the wiser what they're venturing into. And as I said, usually this stuff was done with a person or persons that are protecting the circle. They're guiding that journey and they're not letting anything in so that the persons that are going in are protected. Even journeying, shamanic journeying amongst a group of strangers is not very safe because you don't know what the people next to you or in the room are bringing with them or have attached to them. So for in my experience, I will only go now to certain groups where I know a certain facilitator is holding the space, because he's a trained, identified shaman, and he doesn't let anything into those spaces. And it actually positively affects the behavior of the people in the space too, because they are going in there with the intention to learn and experience, not release a bunch of pent up emotion into or onto a group of strangers. That makes sense.
Mm.
Hmm.
Thank you for that. My experience I 100% agree with you. It's very challenging to find facilitators that understand the medicine and, more importantly, know how to hold the space. I would actually think that holding the space is more important than understanding the medicine, uh,
Mm,
because uh, the things that come out of people and that come into I've never done ayahuasca or anything like that, and when I remote view it, or I've seen it in some of my clients' fields, uh, you can look up above. They, I don't know, must sit under tents or something, or there must sometimes there looks like there's a tent or a ceiling of sorts, but the ceiling is covered in demons, and they're like seething, and they're waiting to drop into the body. So once the uh, astral body opens up, they drop in, and they can run amok, but they can also reveal themselves as really beautiful things.
yeah,
You know, I see them for what they are. But sometimes you have to look at something that's beautiful for a little while in order to see. It's almost like glamour magic, right? It has to, it'll shimmer just so.
Hmm.
And once you get those things in your body, they call you to go back and go back and go back, and then pretty soon you don't even need the medicine anymore because it's a full-on possession. uh,
mm,
and we are seeing it more and more, and it's people's vulnerabilities. I think uh, there's a spiritual initiation. Doing these kinds of things, even speaking with guides or whatever, there's a level of spiritual maturity, and it seems to be being bypassed.
yeah,
And
Yeah.
yeah,
like people
yeah,
are just lining up and eating it like candy, and it's it's a little bit crazy to me because it's mainstream.
yeah. It's becoming more mainstream.
Yeah, it,
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a popular tourist attraction,
yeah.
which I was, I still amazes me to see that.
yeah,
I'm like, wow.
yeah.
You
I
mentioned
mean,
Costa Rica. I recently canceled a trip. I was supposed to be in Costa
oh,
Rica
I
on
thought,
the
yeah, I
10th.
thought so.
Isn't that
Oh,
crazy?
yeah.
But
Yeah,
something about the land there, something I was like, I don't know, something doesn't feel right.
mm,
So
interesting.
I don't know if it has anything to do with that, but or the current stuff in Venezuela. But
Mm. I think there's a gate there at Costa Rica. There's an important gate there that may not have been functioning right, and uh it's not open yet. And I'm getting really dizzy right now. I'm like, woo.
yeah, there
There's
are a
something
lot of
about
gates. Hmm.
there's something about that. There's something about the land there that's important, but maybe not right now, you know. And maybe there's somebody that go in there that's supposed to open it up. Because I know somebody who's, I think that's what she's supposed to do. They're
Yeah, it's
landing
a
there,
beautiful
but
country.
yeah, yeah, and it's become the new hotspot,
Yes.
right, for all these spiritual activities and awakenings. You know, facilitating awakenings and things like that. But yeah, what was I thinking about this? Yeah, how mainstream these mind altering, I'm just going to call them mind altering chemicals, are, because yeah, I think I've heard like there was that big football star, Aaron Rodgers, I want to say, who was that quarterback? I think I've heard him saying that he's used it, and then just other really, I want to say, that have gotten popular with the mainstream, um, the ones that are speaking out, let's just say, about psyops, and that are like very intelligent, upper middle class, educated men,
Hmm.
right? That are out there talking about it, and they're they're very much exposing some of the the lies that are going on and the misinformation. Well, I shouldn't even use that word because that's the totally captured word. Um, right. But how they're playing both sides, left or right, let's just say, and manipulating our thinking, what we think we're seeing. But at the same time, now they seem to be, from what I've heard, and listening to some of these other podcasts that are big names, I should say big names, and uh, I just go by my inner guidance, like you guys do. Like, okay, I need to listen to that for some reason. And they're talking about their schedule for their first DMT ayahuasca journey, and so that's making it more trendy, where these educated middle class, you know, uh, men now are venturing into trying that. And I just, as I was saying that, it just reminded me of, like, hey, didn't we go through this in the '60s with LSD? Because it started with all those in colleges, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and some of those very educated, again, men, doing that, making it trendy. So yeah, I just feel like wait, is this deja vu? Are we trying to repeat this
Well,
pattern here?
we're in this really this it's a prime opportunity for our men to actually stand back up and be armored. And it's interesting how when you flash something shiny or something mind altering, it's capturing it's the next thing to capture our men again, to keep them in a shall I say, non-protective state. They don't take
Mm,
the role on that they actually have been here to represent. And so I think that's by design, by a mind control design. And when we look at the way well, I mean, they're just as simple as radio waves being pulsed through. It's really easy to pick up that impulse and convince anybody, not just men, but anybody, that this is a good idea, and
yeah,
it feels and sounds like you. Um, so I think this is it's a fascinating topic on so many levels, but we're in the process of embodying ourselves. So for
yeah.
me, I've actually noticed my teams or my guides or whatever step further and further away from me. And as they step further and further away from me, it's space to embody me. So my knowing is what's coming through. My cells are activating to access the information that they've held space for. And what I'm hearing with people is these beings are coming closer and closer and closer, and then they're going to disappear to a new dimension, and it's like, well, that's interesting because I'm hearing to connect with nature and come back together with the earth and understand her in order to understand you, and awaken your own innate abilities through this um, you know uh, uh, spiritual cadence, or this evolution of the falling off of the small self, or tearing down these old
Yeah.
walls. And as we tear down these old walls, what do we fill it with? And this was something you were bringing up, Susan, like this empty vessel. Well, we fill
Hmm.
the empty vessel, in my opinion, and this is my opinion only, with the spirits of Christ, the
Hmm.
Christ itself, or the learning, coming back home to self, which is coming back home to, you can say, God, right? Coming
Hmm.
back to
Yeah.
the all that
Deep.
is. So I'm when we're opening up these doors and these avenues into for beings to get closer to us, when we're supposed to be, coming into ourselves, it can be very confusing. It's very
Yeah.
confusing.
Hmm.
We
Yeah.
are, the human soul is such a valuable commodity. It is
Yes.
like anything else. And I sense with the trendiness of DMT and ayahuasca is this sense of longing. So I'm not speaking about the people that are just in for the thrill, but the sense of longing to reach a certain level of spiritual awareness without having to do the years or the in-depth study. It's like they want an instantaneous connection, and maybe that's a way to for them to verify or confirm, oh, there's actually something more outside of all of this, that there's higher beings that, oh, now I know really and truly exist. And in like many traditions, it would take a lifetime of practice, and this would be strict practice to reach certain levels of spiritual enlightenment. And then some of these retreats may not directly say that, but they're doing a bypass or a shortcut to it using a chemical that people aren't truly prepared for.
Yeah.
And so I don't know what like the solution would be for that, because um, that if there is such a longing and a seeking to remember or attain or connect with the spiritual, or the one true infinite creator that we all want, we all are supposed to have. um, I think the intention of ayahuasca and DMT is possibly a good thing. However, it's, in my opinion, it's just not seeming to be done in a way that's positive and protective of the human soul. I think
Mm-hmm.
money is more of a driving factor, unfortunately, which puts people at risk. But when you have some people that are so lonely and longing, and
Yeah.
an avenue for that, I can see
Yeah.
why it's becoming more and more popular.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, one thing though, on a positive note, I feel like things are accelerating so fast that it really is easier to connect with that, uh, the true
Yeah,
spirit, let's say the breath,
yeah,
if people would, just make the more of the effort, even if you block out a little bit of time in the
yes,
morning, some type of spiritual practice that, I still like working with that central vertical channel, allowing that breath to really come through, and dropping it down into the all the way into the pelvis and connecting to the pelvic floor, the breathing, the natural ways that are available to us, to quiet the mind as best possible. But some type of spiritual kind of practice, um, like I was just telling, Kat and Chastity, that my inner guidance lately has been to write, because that seems to connect with the body. And so
Mhm.
I've been guided to just write, like, I am one with my soul is one with me. For a while, I was vocally doing it. Now I'm like, okay, I'm supposed to write it for 2 pages every morning.
That's
I'm one with
fascinating.
my body is one
Mhm.
with me. I am one with, like lately, even I am one with my gold body. My gold body is one with me. I am one with, and sometimes I'll go through every body part, you know, um, like the spirit is, uh, it's really a freeing then, and ego less, and even affirming that you have a mission. You were designed a certain way for a particular mission, and that just means that's why you gravitate to certain things. You have certain talents that other people don't have. Like, why was Kat uh felt the impulse to become trained as a priestess? Like, I didn't have that impulse, but Kat did. That's just more innate of what you were born to do, and that is your gift to offer then, to be a co-creator with that gift, and to use that. And you just become more and more ego less. So I'll even write, like, I am one with my mission. My mission is one with me. I am one with my mission. for anybody who wants to, give that a try. But I mean, that spirit is so available now, and going to become more so, um, in the next couple of years. So, and I think one of the things that happens and has happened in our society and our world is to cut those gifts off.
Mhm.
Again, that only this path will make you money, and these are the only things that are valuable to our society and our economy. Are you adding to our economy? Are you adding, and that's more like intellectual. That's really what's been, especially in the Western world, what's been valued is the intellectual intelligence, and then all the other kind of more feminine gifts that we might have were paid less, you know? So all those things, I feel like it cuts off your natural talent, it cuts off your creativity, your voice to be expressed, and that I think that's caused a lot of depression in people and cutting that off. And then you're not getting in touch with your own, inner spirit. And on the positive side, I think what I see now is what's become popular is people are drawing. They want to draw because they want to express, in whatever way that wants to come out. That kind of expression, even if it's not a gift, even not sharing it with everybody. Although there's many platforms now. Look at Etsy, where people are selling their drawings or their art, or they want to draw mandalas. They want to color, get coloring books to color in mandalas. I feel like that is part of the trend of wanting to express and embody. And I think those are good. I feel like those are positive ways to embody because it's right there. It's right there now. It's right there knocking at your door. Go ahead,
That's what
Chastity.
that's what I've been hearing the whole time. And this is actually what I've been sharing with people in sessions, in group classes, is to draw and write because it is what brings the
Yeah.
spirit. Rudolf Steiner talks a lot about this, and it's in early childhood development of, connecting the soul into the body.
Hmm.
And what are we doing right now? We are connecting the soul into the body. And once the soul is, we should have been living from that space, I believe by like age 12, like that should have been an embodiment.
Yes.
Um, and we've not embodied it. And so we've had many of us have had several imposters and been not single soul occupied. And we've had fallen souls in our body. We've had, there's a difference between carrying experiences from other times with us and embodying what we should have learned. So integrating it with us, so it's really interesting to see now. Something about a jumbled up time is why we don't remember quote unquote past lives or future lives, because of the way time was created into a linear construct. And so now it's getting rejumbled back up. And so this is why all these little pieces are lining back up and all of the wisdom is rising inside of us.
Hmm.
And we've been in, at least I guess you could say, um, well, where we live, we've been in a masculine, but it's almost like, almost like a tortured masculine, like the
Yeah.
air, the thinking has been so twisted. I actually call it dark mother masquerading as a masculine energy.
Hmm.
Now I'm seeing all these crazy things that I was seeing last night, like all of the, the what holds the information together, like bones and cells and memories and all these things that run this whole cage, if you will, of information and
Yeah.
how we access it. I've been seeing domes again. I know, Kat, we were talking about domes used to go over specific cities, and we saw this in Canada. I'm actually seeing it in the United States now. Domes going over specific cities, and then like practices. And then I don't know if this hooks us up to, is it okay to say the digital IDs? I don't know, but I don't know if it's going to hook us up to that, or whatever comes. Is it good, bad, indifferent? It's some really interesting things happening, at least when you go in and look at it through the eyes of the Christ, or, you know, your spirit eyes. So,
Well, they're definitely trying to steer it right in one direction, which means control, you know, control humanity, control your freedom. It's definitely they're trying to go in that direction. Um, but I'm glad you brought up about the masculine and the men. It's not to bash on the men, uh, but but what I'm really feeling like is that even the men, the males, have suffered in that era. They have, by being disconnected from their own sensory system, and being and only the mental being kind of valued, uh, that pressure. And I think we might have touched on it in the past, that we send men to war for their aggression. And I mean, how awful is that for the 18-year-olds? I mean, they're just boys, we're moms, like, like what are you doing? They have suffered as well, emotionally suffered.
They're the
um
first sacrifice when leaders don't get along. They're literally the sacrifice.
yes.
yeah,
And
I
like
mean,
you look at the statistics of the Ukraine, Russia war at the moment, uh, both countries are experiencing considerable losses of their young male population.
yeah,
And I mean, that creates so much trauma on many different levels
yes,
that has a ripple effect worldwide.
yeah. And also into the cells of their bodies, even if they come out of it and they produce children later on, that traumatic memory in the cell, that cellular memory, gets passed on, and then that fighting, aggressive mentality then gets passed on, even, in
Yes.
how we raise our children, and you have to hate this group. And I mean,
Mhm.
there's such a big ripple effect, uh, with all of that has to end. Um, and I feel like that soul embodiment, what's happening with the sun, with the solar flares, to activate our souls, right? Because the sun is like our soul, in a sense. Uh, oh, that's the other thing I was feeling, is that with this, right? Because like the solar plexus is like our sun in a sense. Um, but I felt like my solar plexus is dissolving last week. It's dissolving, and it's like dissolving the ego then, right? Ego identity, right? Personality archetypes are tied in with that solar plexus. All these things are trying to dissolve of these old scripts.
Mm.
And then I felt like the more I tried to hold on to that, like, oh, I can't, if you think like you can't let that go, it actually felt more stressful in my body. Like, it's a lot easier to just say, oh, okay, this is a
Mhm.
good thing.
Yeah.
Don't fight it,
Yeah.
Go ahead, Kat. I mean,
There's
Chastity, yeah.
the way that I see it, and some people came in with this particular template, right? Kind of like came in with different uh, uh, connectors, or not the traditional seven on-body chakras. So, like,
Mm-hmm.
some came in with that to be able to kind of tell the energy field that this is what we're moving into. And so the old ways plugged into, and it was actually really easy to plug in, um, uh, like a 10 tree grid, for instance, through the seven body on chakras,
Oh, absolutely.
and also run. It's easy to run false identities through those. And it was really hard to see when one was overlaid onto the original body. So
Yes.
another holographic one would be interlaid on there and it would lock in, which then, so that center, the solar plexus, which is the divine will, should be the divine will of the old body structure. And then what happens is they're designed to dissolve. And when they dissolve, we slide up. And the colors change quite significantly. And the processing of the outer world changes quite significantly because you're processing different from the inner world. And so it's I was going to do this whole thing of like a removal of chakras, right? And then really it was about removing the overlay, right? So
Yeah.
removing it's almost like a cage or like something that looks just like it that it snaps in. And if you remove that, then the person is more easily able to integrate the lessons that they've learned in those vibrations, and then they can slide up into a new harmonic expression. And we're
Mm-hmm.
needing to slide up to express from the soul, which is a whole new harmonic,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's not surprising that it's dissolving, but it's interesting because it's like if you could remove that, then naturally it'll happen much faster. But if you continue to work with the seven on-body chakras, it's an old system and
Yeah.
likely infiltrated,
Yeah.
and it's time to move up and out of them. So pop off your little thing and start processing the work that likely you've already done, but not been able to integrate or hold on to. So the body could
Mm-hmm.
slide quite quickly, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I mean, how many years, Chastity, have we been talking about the chakras are going to dissolve? I mean, like, we were seeing it years ago. And I mean, I was experiencing it in 2016. I thought, oh my gosh, like chakras they're dissolving. And
Mm-hmm.
now, you realize like, okay, you're seeing something in the future.
Mm-hmm.
This is what's coming. And it's like, I feel like now this is it now. The chakras are going to, because it's made for a denser human,
Yeah.
and we're changing density. And like you're saying, if you, if you're fighting to keep them in place,
Mm-hmm.
then that could inhibit your ability to then, move up, you
Yeah.
know? Yeah.
I wouldn't have believed any of that, but I did these classes, I don't know, like in 2013, something like that. And we were working with the ancient Egyptians. And as you know, the Egyptians use specific color structures, and they're very different than, what we're used to seeing in the body. And the teacher at the time was saying, here's what you're going to see, and then you're going to wrap light. And the woman that was working on me, she was so confused. She's like, I don't understand, because none of her colors are like you said they're supposed to be, right? They're all
Yeah.
completely different colors.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I never looked or paid mind, or thought I would be any different, or what bodies were coming in, until you start working on bodies and actually looking at it and going, oh my gosh. And the kids coming in, not just the autists,
Yeah.
but I noticed my little one, she works very closely with the autists, which I find interesting. So it's telling me that
They're the new kids. Yeah.
it's a level of embodiment that they can have. Um,
Right.
and what is the bridge? I think there are a bunch of children that are bridges for
Yes.
this
Yes.
evolution.
Yes. Yeah. And
Different colors, different
I saw,
colors.
I saw a similar thing with Sammy when she showed me, maybe like 10 years ago, you know, and she said, well, I came in with a 15 chakra system, and they were like all these lighter colors, like, I'm just like seeing these. I mean, I was like, oh my gosh, they're not they're
It,
more
it,
like the pastelly pearlescent colors. Yeah, go ahead.
and it's interesting that you're mentioning about the 10 tree or uh, 10 grid system being the incorrect one. And I've been feeling that even with the tarot cards, because the
Yeah.
tarot has a lot of basis in Kabbalah, which uses the 10 tree grid. And as I'm going through the cards, I'm thinking there's cards missing. There needs to be additional major arcana here. This is
Yeah,
this
yes,
is not this is not it.
yeah, yeah,
And like when you go through the decks, and usually certain major arcana are associated with the certain zodiacs and colors and numbers and things like that. And when you look at the Kabbalah, which is based on the tree of life and the tree of death and the pathways, and I'm like, wait a minute, there's paths that are missing, and which means that there are whole. This is going a little bit more in depth, but there's whole different archetypes and entities that were missing in
yeah,
these tarot decks that are still part of the fool's journey, that need to be added to the deck. I
yeah.
don't know
I
who
agree with
they're,
you.
yeah,
Well,
I
and
don't
that's
know who
what
they
the
are right now,
when you
but
kept saying, yeah, that we're supposed to create, a new tarot. I
I,
kept
I
seeing that from the kids. It's like
yes,
the cosmic tarot, like where
I
it
yes.
completes the 12 tree grid.
I'm so
That's
excited
what,
that we're talking about this right now because I keep seeing it. I have a couple of people that I see regularly, and they're tarot design. Like I know that I'm like, you're supposed to be doing tarot, like you're supposed to be drawing these. Some people are supposed to be creating these. And
yeah,
so, you know,
yeah,
cat, get
yeah,
on it.
yeah. Well, that's what I'm seeing from the autist is, yeah,
yeah,
it's a cosmic tarot. It's a
Yeah.
cosmic tarot deck. And
and
yeah,
that, which
go
is
ahead.
funny because I have some cosmic tarot decks, but they're still based on the old
Based on the 10. Yeah,
rider weight
yeah, yeah,
system of the 10 tree grid. So
yeah,
like they're
yeah,
also still missing.
yeah,
So the tarot that we have now was good to get us through to this point, but
yes,
now that we are removing the layers and adjusting the grids and realizing that the chakras we've been taught don't apply anymore, now we need a new tool,
right,
which
Mhm.
right.
it could be something, it could be an expanded tarot deck, and it could be even something more than tarot, although like I gravitate to tarot because it's just something I'm more accustomed to, but yeah,
Right.
it needs to
Well, and
be.
again, Sammy is guiding me to use the tarot as a reflection, you
Mhm.
know? So, yeah, we were all born into this 10 tree grid, whether you like it or not. And I know I know I've worked and uh, okay, we need to get away. We're dissolving the 10 tree grid. I know I've done energy work and stuff, dissolving the 10 tree grid we're not using, but it was just the overlay, uh, that's been running on the planet that then hides the other timelines, and the maps, like Chastity keeps talking about. It's part of the maps where it looks folded. You can't see these other timelines. They seem to be running parallel, but they're bleeding together. So that all says to me that that overlay that's been hiding the true tree of life is dissolving, and so even the tarot um, is going to get upgraded. So uh, so yeah, Sammy is having me communicate through that because it's pictorial, and just for people who've never used tarot. I mean, for me and Chat and Kat, you could probably say more about this, but yeah, I clear the energy from it, and then I energize it so that it imprints my higher self, highest self, whatever. And so then it can become like a mirror for you,
Mhm.
because the universe is built on mirroring in a sense. And the way I interpret that mirroring means if we're an expression of God's source and we're here to experience as God's source, then there we reflect back to God's source what our experience is, because how else would God know what our experience is if we're not reflecting, in that sense. So there is this natural mirroring, to me that goes on. Uh, and I've gone through phases where you got to just rely on yourself. You don't need, you don't need any of these other divination tools or whatever to tell you, to guide you. Um, but it's a tool that can help. Just like people that use the Bible and they open it up to a page, or what do I need to know today? Or
Divination.
yeah, when you have a spiritual based book, like I really like the Revelations of the Aramaic Jesus by Neil Douglas Klotz. I like
Yeah.
that interpretation of what Yeshua was teaching and talking about. And anyway, but sometimes, yeah, I'll open that book up and it'll show me something that I need to know, for that day, even if it's just a paragraph.
Yeah.
So we use this kind of mirroring to give us insight, at times. Uh, so and it's gonna evolve. So I'm not trying to promote fear about the tarot because it's based on the 10 tree grid. But now we're coming to the point now where all of those overlays are dissolving, and they've been dissolving for the last 8 years. We
Mhm.
just didn't realize it, and now it includes our chakras. Finally, like, when are we going to do that? Like, what was all that about? Was I wrong about it? But anyway,
While you're talking, I saw when you were talking about the maps, which we bring up so often together in our conversations, I saw a swan folded as a map in the northern sky. And so I did double check. Of course, it's Cygnus, right? The swan
oh
constellation. And this is interesting because Cygnus's themes are about purification, truth telling, grace through hardship, soul remembrance, higher calling and destiny, and bridging worlds together. And while you're talking, I'm like, when I heard when the swan is above or in the northern skies, and then the map started unfolding. And so I don't know what that means, but I'm just popping it out there. Um,
yeah,
Cygnus, when Cygnus is above the United States and in Canada, I don't know, summertime maybe. So something like that. I'm not but anyway, it's coming up. And I think that it's really interesting to also look at maps in the sense of people moving. We talk about people moving out of this realm of existence, but sometimes I feel like the land, even moving to another country, is outside the realm of existence, if that makes sense, or could be interpreted that way. And it's like I don't know exactly where I'm going with this, but they're showing a lot of like moving or changing, and I kind of like lost the stream there, so I'm gonna just let that go, and
I
people.
know. All of a sudden, my head went, "Ooh!" So I think maybe that's why
I know because
we
I think
lost it, because it was like something was opening up
yeah,
through the
yeah,
skull.
it's
uh,
People are even being redistributed on the planet
yes.
because they're part of the new connected system
Mm.
of new codes and things coming in. So there's strategic placements going
Mhm.
on.
mhm. Yeah,
Areas need some extra help, so all of a sudden you have, a few more people moving in that area.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
More and
yeah.
more people are going to be leaving your world. And it's interesting because it reminds me, when we're moving to a specific place, and that could be a consciousness space, um, there are people in our lives that disappear, but then it's like they shoot an arrow through the cosmos just to try to poison you again or try to pull you back or pull you back down. And it's really fascinating because you'll find that the poisonous dart is one of your fears. So there'll be like
Mm,
a threat or if you don't do this or because you haven't done this, then this is going to happen to you, right? And it's
hmm
really fascinating because that can so very easily spiral somebody out. And hold them back down into literally the grips of fear or dim their light back down. And so I think the overall concept or idea is, to allow your light to shine, allow your voice to be shared,
Yeah,
share
yeah.
your voice. I guess when I'm saying that, when appropriate, right? We don't need to be vomiting up in people's laps information that they don't care about.
Yeah. Or your traumas.
Your trauma or trauma dump. Don't go to any what were we talking about? Singing
Singing
bowl
bowls.
sessions
Yeah, I know.
and sit in a bathtub of people's stuff, nasty stuff, and unless the facilitator knows how to keep a clean bath, so to speak.
Yeah, yeah. Set
Just
up some exit portals, right? I mean that you're going to send them out through in the space in the field. So yeah, but I mean there's just um I know I feel like our skulls got pinged and so now
I know. Well, it's also reminding me we all have Larimar on or have some kind of connection to Larimar, which I'm finding very
or water.
fascinating as
I
well.
got my plasma water,
Yeah,
plasma water.
yep, it's
Yeah,
this spoon, it's a water, it's the water element, so emotions, mother, but
yeah.
it was created in fire. So I actually call it divine fire water. And
Oh,
the
I
type
love that.
of
Yeah,
space that
Mm.
Larimar can hold is just incredible to assist with emotional awakening. It's actually very protective. It acts as itself as a very protective field. Uh,
yeah. I
for
have to
the
pull mine out. Yeah,
yeah,
pull my
you
Larimar out.
feel called to
It
it.
harmonizes very well with labradorite too. The two stones work nicely together.
Oh
Lovely.
yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, I love Labradorite. Those are my
I
favorite
do
ones.
too. I didn't even think
Hearing
of
It's like
information.
magic in there. Yeah, you're like, wow, look at that.
the depth, the depth.
Yeah,
There's a lot of identity shifts that people are going to be experiencing.
yeah,
And the belief structures are falling away and or being challenged. And that can be emotionally confusing. Who am I? People are like, who am I? And this is part of the reason they're going to, like we were talking about at the beginning, is, going to these mind altering medicines because they want, who am I? Who
yeah,
there is something bigger, but who am I? And, how do we bring in a level of trust in the process without creating rips and tears and forcing, and how can we be a loving presence in the evolution of this for men and women
yeah.
uh, and our children and our pets are evolving at a crazy rate.
No, I know.
They're moving out of their animal impulses, and
Mm,
it's quite creepy to witness,
mm,
but
mm.
it's happening. And the amounts of finding a stone that you resonate with, and Larimar came to me a couple of days ago so strongly, and it's able to hold an entire body, an entire planet, in my opinion, in
Mm.
peace through this emotionally I can't even say that word.
Tumultuous,
Tumultuous
tumultuous. Yeah,
time,
yeah,
time.
yeah, yeah. Right, because the lid on the emotions is coming off. It's like, okay, you gotta clean out. You gotta clean out. Because when that pure spirit comes in, it's trying to purify our bodies. It's trying to purify everything so that it can be a clean container. So it's a stimulus to heal, not to traumatize you all over again. But if we can recognize that and allow it to dissipate, we'd be a lot of it can go easier. Instead of trying to fight what's happening, if we can go with it. And what was my phrase this morning that I kept? Integrate what's mine, dissolve uh, what's leaving. Something like that. Integrate what's mine. Oh, integrate what's staying, dissolve what's leaving. Integrate what's staying, dissolve what's leaving. I was like, well, that's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's my phrase for the day. Integrate what's.
there's a really big power play with what I call dark mother. I've even seen like an alien dark mother. I don't know if that's just an extended version, but we're seeing that within a lot of people that we're being removed from. And it comes with a level of righteousness. that
Oh.
I'm actually shocked to witness and experience, but it's about I deserve, I need, you're going to give.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
all the while saying that they're beautiful and loving and nurturing beings. And this creature is coming out of people that we love.
Oh.
A creature of consciousness, we'll call it. And so, my hope for the men and women that are gripped by this, that they be lovingly released, or at least held in their, uh, quite honestly, torture that they're
Mm.
experiencing in the mind. Really stuck in the mind body here.
Oh. Yeah, that feels like a split right between the mind and the emotions, where yeah, the emotional body and the mental body, because
Mhm.
those are trying to merge too,
Yeah, well,
where it just becomes one, and if you try to keep fighting it to keep them separate, then
we see a big split in, like, they talk about that 2D, 4D split. I see it
yeah.
4D split. So I see another split that
Oh,
happened
that makes sense.
and tried to come in. So
That makes sense.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Gosh. Well, gosh, we go on another hour, I think, but yeah, I need to start to wind down. I know I could start another topic, but it's like, don't, you gotta keep, you gotta keep, you need to get off. Um, but yeah, anything else, last words or any thoughts that we want to close with?
We have so many tools to use to achieve various levels of spiritual consciousness. And one of
Mm-hmm.
the biggest things is discipline and definitely spiritual hygiene. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's practice your shielding, clearing, meditation, um, you know,
Mm-hmm.
focus, although focus is not always easy for a lot of people, but it is there are other ways to clean your aura, your spaces, and things like that. But it comes down to your personal responsibility to
Yeah.
make sure that you're going out or even in your space as clean as possible. And
Mm-hmm.
so many tools to accomplish that and things to
Mm-hmm.
work with. But
Mm-hmm.
it's not like it was 100 or some years ago where communities were so cut off. Now you have access to so much, and there's things that might resonate and things that might not resonate with you.
Yeah. Well, along those lines, I know I was like, I don't want to start another thought, but since you brought up about protection, I feel like each of you too are going to have insights about this, even if you haven't thought about it. So, um, one thing that I've noticed is okay, so we shield like this way, but I've been shielding my central vertical channel as well, because what I realize is that central vertical channel as well, it has a quantum connection, whatever you want to call that. And that's how some of these beings, even if you're shielding this way, are infiltrating, because we share at other dimensional levels, we share space with these fallen beings because they wouldn't be able to exist either. So I shield my central vertical channel, and I drew an image that if other people and some people in our Patreon group might know, it's I call it the eternal tree of life. It looks like it looks like Larimar, actually. I just realized it's like that color. It's like that color. Uh, but anyway, so I mean, um, I can repost that in places so people are aware of what that is. But I feel like you might each have other ideas about that
Mhm.
kind of shielding the central vertical channel. So whatever
Yeah.
comes up for you.
I
It looks like Larimar.
It's interesting. It's interesting because I actually use my central vertical channel as my shield. So it actually comes out. And what I do is my vertical channel I connect it to the mother arc gates, which look like Larimar. And it comes up through me like this and goes actually and I think some people are built this way. There are
Yeah.
different body types. So it actually is like you become a walking clearing portal for
Mm,
land. You know what I mean?
Mm, uh-huh, uh-huh.
Which also means this is why people get aggravated around you sometimes because
Oh,
you're actively clearing the space, that you're commanding your space in such a way.
yeah, yeah,
Um, but to go to you with the vertical channel, I really feel it is very much connected to the vertical channel.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah. Yeah,
Kat,
and
any
spread it
insights?
out from your body. So like you can move it in and out and it goes front and back and it's cylindrical, I suppose.
Yeah,
You
yeah, it
have
is
to put it
cylindrical.
into a shape, but
Yes, 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 yeah. Kat, do you have any insights or anything you want to add about that?
Well, my idea of shielding is a little bit more, I guess, three-dimensional, where if I'm going into a crowd of people, I have some Tiger Balm on my feet. I will use Florida water to spray around my body, spray around my space, which acts when I work with the plant medicines. That will help with shielding at least my physical form and working with the other beings that I work with. They are involved in keeping me shielded. I do use like a dodecahedron at times to also create a field around
Mm,
it and try to spin that as much as possible to build out a larger structure, especially when I'm going into a bigger area of people. So it's for me, it seems like there's a variety of tools to use for shielding and protecting, and
okay.
some cases require a little bit more force, and others not so much.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Okay, perfect. All
Wonderful.
right. Yeah, since that came up, I was like, well, people might want to know, like, what do they mean by shielding? Yeah, okay. I know. All righty, ladies. Well, thank you so much. Um, and big hugs to everybody. Add any
Thanks.
comments or questions that you might have under the video. Chastity does sessions if you're interested in what she does. Kat is not doing sessions at this point. I feel like you might be doing sessions in the future.
I think she's gonna pretty soon.
Kat, yeah, um, yeah, but yeah,
Put me
but
on the calendar, Kat.
get in touch with
And
Kat
you do sessions
Chastity.
as well. Are you still doing sessions, Susan?
Oh no, I only do sessions right now for our Patreon members, like the Cosmic members, here and there.
Oh,
So next year, hopefully, I'll be able to open up more time slots. But for us, I mean, the we do I do monthly Patreon meetings, and then at the end, we do energy work. And so I do a lot of clearing, and we do like some of the latest things to adjust with some of the latest things that are going on. So that's the best place for if people are interested in working with us or a session type energy work, then it would be through our monthly Patreon meetings.
wow.
So yeah. Oh, and
Is
our website with the art gallery is hopefully
oh,
going to be out this week. Um, yeah, it'll be it's energy. It's you can do energy work with just the images. Mainly, what we're starting out with is the sea life, the whales. Uh,
mm,
uh, this so the sea life is like the seeds of templates. And then the dragons. We're putting the dragons out first. So I have a whole list of categories, but we'll have
I
to
love it.
upload them slowly so that you'll be able to do energy. You'll be able to do some energy work just by with working with some of the images that's going to be on the virtual gallery. So and that website is going to be will be called Revealing the Jewels of Autism.com. And our other site is still live, moonorals.one, which is based on my name. But this one is the art gallery, virtual art gallery only. So, all right. Well, thank you. Thank
Wonderful.
you
Good
so
to see
much.
you guys.
Yeah, you too. Merry
Thank
Christmas, everybody, if you celebrate. Happy New Year if we don't see you again. Okay. Bye bye.
thank you.